We are reading from Bhagavad Gita. Now before this, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from the 9th chapter entitled The Most Confidential Knowledge. And we are reading text number 5. So, Na chamatstani bhutani pashya me yogamaishvaram bhuta prinnacha bhutasto mamatma bhuta pavanaha. And yet, everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation. Purport. The Lord says that everything is resting on Him. Matstani sarva bhutani. This should not be misunderstood. The Lord is not directly concerned with the maintenance and sustenance of this material manifestation. Sometimes we see a picture of Atlas, this verse, holding the globe on his shoulders. He seems to be very tired, holding this great earthly planet. Such an image should not be entertained in connection with Krishna's upholding this created universe. He says that although everything is resting on him, he is aloof. The planetary systems are floating in space, and this space is the energy of the Supreme Lord. But he is different from space. He is differently situated. Therefore the Lord says, although they are situated on my inconceivable energy, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I am aloof from them. This is the inconceivable opulence of the Lord. In the Nirukti Vedic dictionary it is said, Yujyat tenena durgateshu karyeshu. The Supreme Lord is performing inconceivably wonderful pastimes, displaying His energy. His person is full of different potent energies, and His determination is itself actual fact. In this way, the personality of Godhead is to be understood. We may think of doing something, but there are so many impediments, and sometimes it is not possible to do as we like. But when Krishna wants to do something, simply by His willing, everything is performed so perfectly that one cannot imagine how it is being done. The Lord explains this fact. Although He is the maintainer and sustainer of the entire material manifestation, He does not touch this material manifestation. Simply by His supreme will, everything is created, everything is sustained, and everything is maintained, and everything is annihilated. There is no difference between His mind and Himself, as there is a difference between ourselves and our present material mind, because He is absolute spirit. Simultaneously, the Lord is present in everything, yet the common man cannot understand how He is also present personally. He is different from this material manifestation, yet everything is resting on Him. This is explained here as Yogam Aishwaram, the mystic power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Homa Yajna timarandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshumilitam nina tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangung langayate girim yat kripatamahang vande Shri Gurundina Taranam. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Brahmo Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, this chapter is called The Most Confidential Knowledge. Krishna gives many details about His personality. These chapters are also the Bhakti Yoga chapters, starting with chapter 7 to 12. And here Krishna speaks about Himself being the creator, and at the same time being not the creator. So these two verses, 9.4 and 9.5, they kind of belong together. 9.4 is where Krishna says that He pervades everything by His avyakta murti. Yeah, avyakta murti means His unmanifested form. By his unmanifested form, he pervades everything. Maya tatam idam sarvam chagata vyakta murtina. He says he pervades everything. So this is already interesting, because we know Krishna is speaking here to Arjuna, and he's perceivable person in one sense. He's not avyakta. Avyakta means not manifest, something what you cannot perceive with your senses. Krishna explains this also in the 12th chapter in the beginning. I don't go into the whole details of that, it would sidetrack, but just the point that he explains something about himself, or an aspect of himself, where he says that this is 12. No. This one. That there is something what can be worshipped by yogis, which is unmanifest, which lies beyond the perception of the senses. It's all pervading, but inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable. And he says this is the impersonal conception of the absolute truth. So he defines, it's also called aksharam, which akshara means also something you can perceive with your eyes. Aksharas are the eyes. So often it's translated something what is beyond the sense perception. Yeah. So this is, and he also uses the word avyakta for that. Avyakta, unmanifested. And so the opposite of unmanifested is vyakta, manifested. Yeah. So Krishna himself, in that sense, is manifested. He is not manifest in matter, but he is manifested in a form. We don't go into this whole nirguna and saguna discussion, we know that. But still, he is, in that sense, manifested. He is perceivable. Yeah. So, but here he speaks in this 9.4, yeah, Maya tatam idam sarvam chagata vyakta murtina matstani sarva putani nacham tesha vastitaha. I pervade with my avyakta murti. Yeah, I even use the word murti, which means actually form, right? It's like a form, but it's avyakta murti, so it's more or less an aspect of himself. It's not a form, it's something not perceivable, and with this, he pervades everything. Not with his Vyakta Murti, not with his Krishna form, which is interesting because later on he says, everywhere my eyes and my hands, and actually in one sense, but here he focuses more on this impersonal form, which is pervading everything. And all the living entities are in him. Matstani sarva bhutani. All living entities are in me. Matstani means, in me situated. Stani means situated, positioned, standing, right? So he says, they are all in me. All these sarva bhutani, all living entities are in me. Nacham tesha vastita. But I am not in them. Also very interesting. I am not in them. But he says very often that he is in all the living entities. When he says, I am in the heart of all living entities. So the point, and the verse which we read now, where he says that, and yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Right before he said everything is in, it's in me. Pashya me yogam aishwaryam means perceive my mystic power, this contradictory power that he has all these different aspects which fulfill different purposes. And the personal aspect is fulfilling another the personal aspect is fulfilling one purpose and the impersonal another. And we cannot mix this. And these verses should be understood in that way, which aspect is fulfilling which purpose. And mainly he says here that I, as Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, I have nothing to do with this creation. Actually, I don't have anything to do. I have something to do with it through my different emanations of like Mahavishnu and then also the impersonal form Paramatma, but he kind of differentiates himself from all of that. So that he's the source and he is all that, but at the same time, he is not. Yeah? And so we can see a hierarchy, definitely, even though we should be very, very careful with seeing hierarchies in Krishna's aspects. Prabhupada, as we know, was very, careful in things like this, because when we make a hierarchy of Krishna's different aspects, it's very easy to make offenses. Because then you say this aspect of Krishna is higher than the other, and the other is because it's not high, it's not higher, it's not important. And maybe it's even bad in some sense. And we know the whole Gopi Baba Club story, yeah. But the main point there was that these devotees made offenses making this mistake. But a devotee who is mature and appreciates all aspects of Krishna, he can make hierarchies because he will not make offenses against the, so to say, lower aspects of Krishna. And so we have to keep this in mind. Prabhupada says even the Srishti Leela, the creation is a Leela. It's called Srishti Leela. The Leela, the pastime of creating. Right? Even the creation is a pastime of Krishna. Yeah? Normally when we say pastime, we think of Damodar Leela and with the gopis and sakas and all this. Oh, this is Leela. But creation and all these technicalities and Sankhya philosophy, it's kind of a little bit difficult sometimes for devotees, even though it's very important and very interesting and very nice. Yeah. So, but Prabhupada makes this point. We should appreciate all aspects of Krishna, all of them, Paramatma, and to some degree also the impersonal aspect. Sure. But at the same time, we should understand that there's a certain goal for us as devotees. We don't want to go into the impersonal realm. We don't want to be servants of Paramatma or whatever. These are not our goals. And also there are so many different forms of Krishna. And from one point of view, we have appreciation for all of the forms, definitely. But at the same time, and I have to search, but there are at least one statement is there in the Bhagavad Gita, I think it's in the end of the 11th chapter, where Prabhupada says, only Shyama Sundar, only Krishna in Vrindavan is our worshipable deity. No, not the Vishnu forms, this and that. There's a clear differentiation. So you can say, oh, there's a contradiction. I thought Srishti Leela is perfect and wonderful. It's like the same like Rasa Leela. Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, but for a beginner, it is. He should look like this. This is all worshipable and wonderful. But a more advanced devotee can make these differentiations and hierarchies without losing appreciation for the, so to say, lower aspects of Krishna. Yeah, because a real devotee sees everywhere Krishna, and he sees his wonderful Lord in all manifestations and aspects and all the avatars. But at the same time, he knows where he belongs to. Yeah. And in this regard, I heard a lecture recently by Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj where he spoke about Shravanam, more or less a whole seminar about Shravanam, the importance of Shravanam and how to do Shravanam in a very technical, systematic way. He quoted Lord Jiva Goswami. And there he explained also that there is a difference between the Nitya Leela and the Bauma Leela. Yeah? There is a difference. Yeah, for these devotees who can appreciate both. And that actually devotees have to come more to the platform of the Nitya Leela, which is interesting enough. Prabhupada was not translating the Nitya Leelas. He was not giving these books because of his time limits, but he would like to. But he mentioned that in the Krishna book, in the chapter, I forgot the chapter number, but he explains that there are so many books of acharyas, which are, this is when Uddhava comes to Vrindavan in this chapter 26, I don't know, I forgot. When that there are these books, and he quotes this Krishna Bhavanamrita. He says this Krishna Bhavanamrita. Krishna Bhavanamrita Mahakavya. This is one book of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And he mentions this book, which is some devotees would say, highly esoteric book. Right? Highly esoteric. Meaning more Krishna's confidential pastimes with the devotees in Vrindavan. But Prabhupada says this is a very important book. Similarly, he said also this Krishna book and the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. He mentions teaching of Lord Chaitanya. He puts in the kind of the same category with the Bhavanamrita. But he says these books are for those devotees who always feel separation from Krishna. Who always feels that, and they can, with this literature, feel solace. Solace is the word, no? Solace. Feel pacified. These books are so important for these devotees who always feel this separation of Krishna, so you can read that and always feel this solace. So Prabhupada mentions this book, and this book especially, and this is one of these books which explain this so-called Nitya Lila. Nitya Lila is the Lila of Krishna in Vrindavan, compared to the Bhauma Lila, Krishna's Lila in the material world, which is described in Krishna book. Yeah? And Bhakti-Vigyan Maharaj says actually devotees should hear, because the seminar was about Shravanam and the importance and the power of Shravanam, and that we should do it very consciously and regularly and a lot actually, and it will really transform us to Krishna Bhaktas. Yeah? Hearing about Krishna will transform us to become Krishna Bhaktas. Prabhupada says that also in the beginning, again, of the Krishna book, that by reading this Krishna book, that our love to Krishna will awaken. Just by reading Krishna book. Why? Because a pure devotee who loves Krishna tells you about Krishna. And this is so infectious, spiritually infectious, that you will also start loving Krishna. Yeah. So this is true. But there's a there's a difference between the Bhauma Lila and the Nitya Lila, in that sense that in the Nitya Lila there is the focus more on, not focus, you can even differentiate between Vasudev Krishna and Vrindavan Krishna. There's another differentiation, which Prabhupada actually also explains, that when Krishna leaves Vrindavan, he does this in his Vasudev feature, because Krishna is never leaving Vrindavan. So when Krishna leaves Vrindavan, goes to Mathura and Dwarka and all that, again, without making offenses, is another form of Krishna. And the form of Krishna which the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu focus mainly is Krishna in Vrindavan. And this is explained again in this Nitya Lila, in these books where the daily pastimes of the Lord are explained in a very wonderful way. And Maharaj explained that devotees should come in time to the platform of appreciating that and being interested in this and being qualified for reading this katha. Yeah? So he gives a very nice outlook. But this is only possible if we on the way there always appreciate all other pastimes, all features of Krishna, not neglecting them. Because this is what so-called sahajiyas do, that they say only this pastime, only the gopis and the others are not helpful, or they even say it's a problem for your bhajan if you now read in the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, it's a problem, because you read all about these kshatriyas and Krishna on the battlefield and all this, or if you read Mahabharata, and now you should not read this. It's a problem for your bhajan. So this is very, dangerous to do. In one sense, an advanced devotee might not read anymore the Mahabharata or anything what is not conducive to his inner longing, so to say. But he will never say these other things are bad or dangerous. He has just an aspiration in a certain direction, an attraction in a certain direction, but he will not make offenses. And this is the trick the devotees have to learn to, in one sense, follow their heart, so to say, but without becoming fanatical, always keeping the appreciation. And this is also what devotees do. They appreciate all forms of Krishna. They appreciate all kinds of devotees. They know how to deal with all manifestations of Krishna and do this in a proper way and progress. Yeah, but at the same time, more and more their own specific spiritual interest will awaken, and they can they develop a strong interest and attraction towards Krishna, right? And I don't want to speak too long because it's late and we're tired, and maybe we can have some little discussion. It's also nice on this topic. So 1 second, I'm finished on this point that this Kartik month is especially in this mood of Vrindavan, Krishna in Vrindavan, this most beautiful, sweet way and form. And this is what Prabhupada gave us. From one point of view, he gave us the philosophy, the science, and the sadhana, but also he gave us the madhurya, right? The sweetness, the most confidential aspect of Krishna in Vrindavan with Mother Yashoda, with Radharani, with the cowherd boys. He gave us this Krishna, and he focused very much on that. And devotees should value this gift very much, especially reading Krishna book. Especially reading Krishna book. This is very important. So So maybe some questions, comments.
A question about Avyakta Murtina.
Yeah.
I have a question about Avyakta Murtina, unmanifest Krishna. What does it mean, unmanifest Krishna? Because his form is also not manifest. Why is this Avyakta different than the Paramatma is also Avyakta? This is the one question.
Yeah. As far as understood, there are in that sense two, because these terms, they come sometimes together also in the verse 7, what is this, 24? Vyakta, avyakta, vyakta, what is the verse? Avyakta, vyakta, forget, 7:24. Which is interesting in this regard, because there you have both words. Avyaktam vyaktim apanam manyate mama buddhayaha, this verse. Parang bhavam achanatum mamaveyam anutamam. That unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. So Prabhupada says avyaktam means the non-manifest, but also the impersonal, and vyaktam he translates as personality, manifest. So more or less there are two avyaktas and vyaktas, right? One is in the realm of matter, being like physical matter and more or less subtle matter, and the other is in differentiation between two spiritual manifestations, like in the nirguna saguna realm. Both is spiritual, but one is manifest in a spiritual form, and the other is not even manifest in a spiritual form. Right? So it's this avyakta. Both of them are avyakta, as you say, of course. They are not material, but then there's also a differentiation in the spiritual, from a spiritual point of view. Or? Yeah.
I have another question.
Yes, please.
What is it how does that jiva as a spirit soul connect into this avyakta? If people like merging into the personal Brahman, where do they merge? Is there a particular location, or they merge everywhere, or become one with do they actually become one with everything? Because if it's, he's all pervading, his Brahman rays, or they're all pervading. So if you merge into Brahma Jyoti, are you merging with actually everything?
Good question. I don't know. Of course, this is what Mayavadis or people who in this esoteric Mayavad field, this is what they want. They say, yes, then I am really everything. I am God. Yeah, this is what they want. But if a soul merges into the Brahma Jyoti, it's really in that sense. Maybe there's some, I don't know. I don't want to speculate. But yeah, I don't know how it is really technically feeling, working. How is it there? Am I really everything? Or is it just being free from matter and feeling this blissful and conscious state of existence without any object for the consciousness, just consciousness itself? And this is already good enough for them. Maybe it's cool, it's really good, But so yeah, I don't know. But it's true that for Vaishnavas also, when they are connected with Krishna, that through this connection, they are also connected with way more other things. There is like a super consciousness. Krishna consciousness is a super consciousness. And I always understood it like this, that if Krishna wants you to be able to do something or know something, he more or less he can transfer his powers to you. And yeah, in that sense, it's true. And maybe something similar is in the Brahma Jyoti, that whatever, maybe I don't know if you have full control over that, but so to some degree, it's true that you are then connected with everything, and it's like a mystic power almost. Yeah. But it's even said that devotees can have more forms in the spiritual world. Like this is already, how is this possible? You are in the Gaura Lila, you are in the Krishna Lila. And maybe you can even do more at the same time. You can, this is already for us, how is this possible?
They can also change, and they can, let's say, be a bird and then a human form and everything.
I think there's ones that Prabhupada said they can, but there's like a fixed, like the where the form where they always come to, and in that sense it's rare that they change, but they could in one sense, yeah. But this Gaura Lila and Krishna Lila thing, this is permanent. And from one point of view, it's only logical because both Mahaprabhu and Krishna are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They're like Swayam Bhagavan, and through Mahaprabhu we come there. It's like already connected. It's not to separate. So you have to be in one sense in both. You cannot miss out the one or the other. Yeah, yeah, but mystical, too high, no? Yes.
I'm not sure if I understood this properly. Did you say that Bhaktivedanta Swami has said that we should meditate more on Nitya Lila, but at the same time we are supposed to read Krishna book, and Krishna book is about Homa Lila?
Yeah.
This is not enough? I mean,
we should come to this platform of Nitya Lila. There is he more or less he said, yeah, this is kind of an higher Lila and manifestation. And when we read, actually, obviously it's true. But of course it depends also on our adhikar realization. But as I said, when we progress properly, we will never make any offenses like this. Yeah, we will never downgrade one or the other Lila. Of course, Krishna book probably is also enough to give you. Not enough, but he explained that there you can be in one sense more and be permanently absorbed in Krishna's confidential pastimes. Yeah, it's true. Homa Lila also. Yeah. But like the descriptions, if you read, Govinda Lamrita, all this book, the descriptions are way more detailed for like meditation and for hearing. There's, No baby Krishna, no baby, because Krishna is Nava Yovanam. He's always 16 years old. There's no baby Krishna. But at the same time, there's always baby Krishna also there for the Vatsalya Bhaktas. So, but Mother Yashoda, she see everything in Krishna. So in a mystical way, it's for them there too. But at the same time, it's true, the Prabhupada says this very often, that the eternal form of Krishna is 16-year-old Krishna. Why? Because especially there, the exchange with the gopis is predominant. And this is, as I said in these books, very umfangreich, yeah? Explained, right? This is, and also, the absorption meditation for a devotee who wants to be more engaged with Vrindavan is very satisfying for these devotees, because the meditation is very intense. Yeah. And in Krishna book, suddenly a demon comes, this and that is a different mood also. And these things are not in the spiritual world, Prabhupada says.
I still don't understand why we have to come to the point of Nitya Lila. Why can we not read Krishna book and that's enough? Not? Why is it not enough?
Yeah, good question. I wouldn't say it's not enough, no, but I would say it's natural when devotees engage with Krishna that they use all possible connections, and then you would naturally be interested. Oh, what else is Krishna doing? And these acharyas gave all these informations about Krishna, and definitely you want to use them, right? And read them, hear about Krishna like this. Yeah. But I understand your question. Is this necessary? Do we have to? Because of course we know that Prabhupada's books are enough, and especially Krishna book definitely is enough. Yeah.
Did you answer that question?
Yes. No, but it's a good point. Yeah, we should not misunderstand that and suddenly think we are, because this is what devotees do. Then they think, oh, it's not enough, and we have to go to the higher. But that's why I said that this progression can only happen if there's always the appreciation for all aspects of Krishna. And if there is no appreciation like this, then it goes into a direction which Prabhupada definitely condemned. And said, and if this happens, that means a devotee is actually not qualified because he doesn't properly understand. And they criticized even Prabhupada for calling Parthasarathi, Radha Parthasarathi. And Prabhupada did not understand the criticism. He didn't understand the criticism. He says, this is ridiculous, you know. Because they say, oh, Radharani is not on the battlefield. Of course she's not there, but Krishna is always connected with Radha, and he always thinks about her. Actually, it's a very, very esoteric name, Radha Parthasarathi. It means Krishna even thinks about Radha on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He's never missing, never forgetting her, right? So that's, Chaisachi, what do you want to say about this point? No, too late and this and that. But I recommend, maybe you, I must admit, I just listened at the side to this seminar or this lecture, and I just remembered that point, right? And so maybe it was not perfect to quote if I don't remember all the details.
Quoting others, then Prabhupada should be well taught or well, researched or
Yeah.
in alignment with Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Because it could be very easily misunderstood or...
Yes, exactly. So that's why I wanted to say we have to be careful in these topics, because then we make offenses, and this is the problem.
As Prabhupada said, Krishna book, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, nectar, devotion, this is enough to actually go back to that.
Yeah, but that's why I said I quoted this where Prabhupada quotes directly this book, no? Krishna Bhavanamrita, in the Krishna book. Of course, he does not say you have to read that, but he quotes, this is especially important for those devotees who feel longing to Krishna and feel separation, and this is how they experience solace. And then he says this book, but then he says, and also Krishna book and teaching of Lord Chaitanya. So to make this point, right? So to be sure we are on the safe side with Prabhupada. Yeah. Okay? Something more? I think it's late. True. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Thank you for coming so late. For a lecture so late. Yeah, you desired the lecture. It was your lecture. You said.
I didn't want to, but I had to.
Yeah.
Once somebody, I was giving a lecture and somebody said, my Guru Maharaj said this and that. As a state, I said, well,